How's it going, sports gamers? And welcome to the SGO Press Pass for Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. Mike Straw here, as always, with Jake Jacobson. Jake, we are both exhausted.
That commenter got in our heads. We
had our amateur podcast.
Welcome to our January 9th podcast. This is the first January 9th podcast I think we've ever done. If that's, you correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but
yeah, we weren't on the air in January. I mean, technically we are amateurs. We're not on a contract to do this. So, I mean, we're not really paid professional podcasters. We're here for fun. Colin Connor love this channel. Thank you, Colin.
Folks, this is going to be the same high energy podcast you're used to seeing every week, but we're both tired.
It's going to be off the rails.
Look, we're going to be straight down in the straight and narrow. Very tired. Two very tired guys. I don't want to speak for Mike here, but it's been a lot going on these past couple of weeks, and I just have barely had any time to catch up with anything. But we do have. This is a great episode, Mike, and I'm stealing your thunder with kind of introing here. But what I really like about this episode specifically is that it is really a checkup episode on a lot of games that we have gotten a ton of questions over for the past couple of weeks.
100%, because this week we have a pretty interesting show. We have the NHL 22 beta that dropped on Monday. I have been playing it, and I will drop my thoughts on that and kind of give like a mini review before my full impressions go up after the beta ends. We have a small NBA 2K22 on their immersion and what they did that they announced today that I'm pretty excited about. PGA Tour got an update from EA Sports, and Maximum Football is back. And that's where we're going to start off with after we get to the crucial question for everyone, as always. Jake, what are you playing?
And I feel like if you're watching or listening at home, your answer is almost certainly more exciting than mine today. I have been very busy with job-related stuff, so I haven't really had time to dip into something super new. I have been playing a lot. I've put in now. Last week, I think I complained that I had stayed up too late the night before playing Sea of Thieves with people, which is free on Xbox Game Pass and for PC. And I have since then done that exact thing several more times. Not quite as late as the first time, but I have put in several long 6-hour play sessions of Sea of Thieves. And that game, say what you will about how much there is to do in that game. It's a fun game to goof around in.
My biggest problem with Sea of Thieves is lack of like true progression feeling. I need a reason. I need that feeling of progression, and I don't know.
Yeah. And they've, that's something I feel like they really haven't addressed. They added the like tall tales, which are just like cool. Like there are cool storyline things to do now. Yeah. And we haven't done any of those yet, but that's more of a testament to like, it's really fun to just goof off in that game. I've been playing a little bit of Splitgate as well, which I saw you had flashed on the screen because one of our viewers was playing it. They transitioned out of their free-to-play beta phase, and they're into their free-to-play real phase, I guess. They've done the Call of Duty Battle Pass. I call it's the Fortnite Battle Pass model, but I don't play Fortnite. I have to play Call of Duty. They do the premium Battle Pass format, which is there are some free things on the Battle Pass, but to actually get stuff for leveling up, you need to pay. You need to do the premium thing, which I don't like the game that much. But also like the game feels good enough to play. It's Halo shooting. It's fun. Most of the maps are fun to play on. I don't need the cosmetics that much. Plus I already got a cool one during the beta. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I've just been sleeping, and also I hurt my back because I'm an old bitch. So I couldn't decide if I wanted to use my swear on that one. Mike, What have you been playing this week?
So I've been playing, like we've seen NCAA 14. I've actually been playing it because of the best part of my new computer build, going with the 5950X and really going over the top with it. I can run the RPCS PS3 emulator flawlessly, which allows me to play college football revamped.
Ooh.
So I've been having a blast playing that, playing Dynasty mode in that, and just reliving Wreckfest. Dwayne says he's been playing Wreckfest. Wreckfest is a fantastic game that I've been playing for a few years. But the big game I've been playing, and now obviously everybody who's tuned in knows how big of a wrestling fan I am. Now, there was a game, I don't know if you ever heard of Wrestling Empire and back in the day. So there's a game called Wrestling Empire from M. Dickey back in 2002 or 2004. And then 2006, there was wrestling like Booking Empire and things like that. And there is, back in July, he launched a modern version of the game for, there was Wrestling Encore and Booking Encore and stuff. He launched a modern version of the game on Steam that brings everything up to the 21st century. And I have been in a full nostalgia mode playing that on Steam. Now, for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, this is what it looks like. It is.
Oh,
yeah. But it is so over the top ridiculous. And the mods. So Wrestling Encore, there's a mod called the TWC, the Wrestling Channel mod. And
it just looks so
bad. But it is so much fun because of the storylines. Like randomly, you can have your booker, the guy running or the head of your promotion, be pissed off at you. So he decides to mug you backstage. It just happens, and you have to fight him. I've just been in like a big nostalgia trick thinking about back in like the mid 2000s, me playing Wrestling Encore and me with the TWC Real World mod and having all these promotions and seeing, oh, this guy jumped to New Japan, this guy jumped to Ring of Honor, this guy jumped, and it's so much fun, and I've been having a blast with that.
Check that out then.
Been playing the NHL 22 beta. Been playing some Madden. I'm enjoying it patiently or impatiently waiting for the scouting update. But Momo says I miss THQ wrestling games. Me too, Momo. Me too. Guys, if you want to get your questions in before we move on to the main topics of the show, if we can't get to them, we will get to as many as we can during the FAQ section. But if you want to guarantee and you want your question or comment to make the air, get priority, leave us a super chat. Any amount gets you on the air, and it helps pay our bills. It helps us here at SGO in a major way. Also, we relaunched SGO Insider, sportsgamersonline.com/insider, with a lot more benefits for the lower tiers, including for as little as $5 a month, our Money Play series that debuted last week, where we pick one play multiple times every few days or whatever it may be. And we walk through how a specific play, whether a setup in Madden, a play in Madden, or play in NBA, or a strategy in MLB The Show, strategy in NHL, whatever sports game is out there to make you better against people online and get you as skilled as possible. And the best part is our $5 starter patrons pick games that they want tips from. We have an exclusive tips channel on our Discord, sportsgamersonline.com/Discord. So guys, our Patreon is revamped. Our Discord's open to everyone. Come hang out. Make sure you are liking this video and you are subscribed to this video. Or channel.
Before we jump in here,
yes,
I want to hear your thoughts on reports that Vince McMahon is taking over the publishing and booking of NXT.
I have officially decided I've stopped watching weekly WWE programming. Maybe back in January, I finally called it off after 20 years. I still watch pay-per-views. I haven't missed a WWE pay-per-view since 2003. Since Armageddon 2003 was the last one I missed.
Okay.
I will still watch the pay-per-views, and I will still catch up weekly on podcasts and YouTube. But I'm done watching weekly shows until things drastically change, and AEW will be my go-to watch. It's just
Fair
what
enough.
it is, especially with a certain person debuting on Sunday at All Out.
Allegedly, I heard that might be different. I heard that may have changed, but
Yeah,
I don't
fingers crossed. So we got some news. We'll start with what we broke exclusively yesterday afternoon in not a major story, but a major story for independent football fans and anybody wanting an alternative to Madden. And that's the return of Maximum Football. We reported last night that Maximum Football was set to be announced, that it was going to be acquired by Maximum Games. Ultimately, it came out, it was purchased by Modus Games, which is a subdivision of Maximum Games. So it's all still the same thing. But we were told by a source that who did not want to be named due to it not being public, announcement was going to come as early as September 1st, which it did. Doug Flutie will no longer be yeah, right. I got it literally at 4:00 on Tuesday saying, hey, by the way, this is happening tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to run this story because this is a big story. Doug Flutie will not be a part of it, but they are looking at online multiplayer as a priority and things of that nature. But the game is back after Canuck Play failed to really build momentum. They ceased operations. They blamed it on other studios getting into invading their space, which is a really weird thing to say, in my opinion. I have some thoughts on that I won't really want to get into because I don't want to, I don't know. I don't feel it's the time or the place to get into that.
It's weird because you don't want to, you don't want to
beat the dead horse.
Right. Plus, one or two people make it a game, like, it can get, I bet, very frustrating and, a little heartbreaking sometimes when you are competing in a specific space. So
agreed. Everything. So I always loved what they did off the field. What they tried to do off the field always worked. Fantastic. On the field, it looked like a PS2 game, low level. It played like a low level PS2 game, which is
more important to me than it looking like a low level PS2 game.
Yeah, if it plays better, then yeah. My biggest thing my biggest gripe, and I hold it personally, and I probably shouldn't at this point, was when we were blamed for an investor bailing out. I'm sorry, if an investor bails out because what a critic reviews your game as, then they probably weren't going to give you the money in the first place.
That's a weird investment move, yeah.
But that always sat with me, though, right? Like in a bad way. But yeah, let's move on to the positives.
Let's talk about the optimism, right? So, was Maximum Games already publishing Maximum Football? That's not.
They had published the physical version of the games the last 2 years.
That's what I thought. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around a little bit is I know Modus, which is an arm of Maximum Games, is largely a publisher. And they've published some cool stuff too. They published Chris Tales, which is a very cool time travel RPG that came out this year, like a turn-based RPG. Very cool. And I know that Maximum Games, as I understand it, is sort of a publishing wing for other like
Maximum Games have
franchises as well, like Nacon Games.
Yeah, Maximum Games is also the console publisher for Among Us. They are the console. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes, Divinity, the first Divinity, right? Because the second Divinity wasn't Maximum, was it?
No,
I didn't think so.
They have done Greedfall, the publishing studio behind that. So the WRC series, Five Nights at Freddy's series, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Farmer Simulator Premium Edition.
So they are
Year Zero.
They are
Street Power
extremely
Soccer,
well known,
which you know about.
I know about Street Power Soccer. They are very, very accomplished publishers, but I don't know what their development like, have they developed a game is what I'm curious about. That's where the purchase is curious to me. Like, are they finding someone else to publish it, but they've bought the rights?
No, they'll be publishing it. It'll be published.
Sorry, my bad. Developing it. I don't. Presumably, they'll still be developing it, but I'm curious as to how they're going to, like, who's going to make the game then, because from what I can tell, they do not have any experience making the game, only publishing the game.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I kind of want to know. It's in a weird place. They did put out a survey asking people what they want to see. But I'm just not, I don't know. To say I'm hopeful is not the right word. I'm cautiously optimistic because I want to see. It's always better when there's more options for players. But I don't know if this is going to work out.
Well, because I'm looking at their Wikipedia
Trine
article
4.
here.
Trine 4 is a Modus game, but it was developed by Frozen Byte.
So they do have a fully owned IP called Extinction, but Iron Galaxy developed it. And that's what I'm curious about. So, like, they own the IP, and they'll now somebody bigger is shopping this out to another team. Presumably, I guess. Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, they're not developers. They're not game developers. So I'm interested in seeing who ends up getting their hands on Maximum Football. I'm going to keep calling it Doug Flutie's Maximum Football. Mr. Flutie, if you're watching, it's no disrespect. It's just,
I've never called it Doug Flutie, even when he got the name. It was Maximum
I just
Football.
like it so much.
It's Max Football, and that's what it is to
me. But yeah, so it'll be interested. Like I am going to reserve judgment until I see who Maximum Games gets to develop the next Maximum Football game, because that's not what they do. So, and I mean, like, they've got partnerships with a lot of very talented developers. It seems like, so that's what it comes down to for me is like, I'm glad somebody owns this IP now. I'm glad somebody owns the code. I'm glad somebody has their hands on, the part of Maximum Football that was good, which is the Dynasty stuff. I hope they give it to someone who does it justice. But in the bright side will be like, they're going to give it to a bigger team than Canuck Games. So, like, that team will be worked less hard. There'll be more hopefully polish in the game because there'll be more hands on it. But
agree.
I don't know. We'll see. That's I'm being optimistic here because I want it to succeed. But, like, I'm curious to see who ends up actually developing the game. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing, and we'll have to wait and see. There's really not much to know about right now, but that's all we know is that the game is coming back. Speaking of games coming soon, NBA 2K22 announced today that they will, for the first time, NBA 2K22 announced. Yeah, that's a good header. Will be having.
That's the biggest EA Sports PGA Tour news we've gotten in a long time. NBA
2K22 will have full PA announcers for the first time in the series history from all 30 NBA teams. And I only wanted to touch on this a little because people talk about presentation and immersion all the time. This is one of the coolest touches, albeit small, to a sports games presentation I have ever seen. I don't care about compared to like multiple broadcast teams and things like that is nothing. Getting every single, and this has apparently been in the works for 2 years with how long they've been working to get these recordings and things like that from the Sacramento Kings PA announcer to make sure if you trade for a player or whatever, they'll have their name and set and stuff like that. This is the coolest thing I've seen in years from a sports video game. And to build that immersion of the real sport on camera.
And the trailer is truly truly cool also. The trailer is very electric to me just because like
100%.
I love so I grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. We had the IU. We had the legendary Don Fisher calling like IU football and basketball games over on the radio. Incredible voice, but like I love that about sports. I love listening to sports that way, and I love like my favorite like clips of like game winners and stuff are always the ones that are announced by like the home court announcers, not like the cable announcers. And so even just hearing all of the different local PA guys doing the brief line, the like minor lines in that trailer was so cool to me. Like it is such a cool addition, and I'm actually like, I'm actually blown away by how blown away I am by it. But like,
yeah, like I didn't think it would.
It's such a cool idea, and it's not something I would have ever thought to like. I don't know. This is not like a thing I would have ever thought of. Was like, oh well, okay, here's just like every stadium announcer. Like we got them. Like we have the voices, like, and that's just I don't know. That's such a cool addition. As
a Knicks fan, like. Wolkowitz has been like the voice of my fanhood. Like there's been Marv Albert and Mike Breen on television, but just hearing that 3-point goal, like, and it's hearing that in the game is going to be so damn awesome. Random videos asked will the default guy be the PA announcer for creative teams. That'd be my guess. It would be so damn cool, but I don't know how they do this. To allow you to choose your PA announcer when you create a team in NBA 2K. That'd be so cool. But I don't know how they do that when you have all these names. Maybe they have a list of names that they will say.
I'm sure things like would that. Have to be something like that, right? Like, unless they just have like the AI, they fed all these PA announcers into the AI stuff, and now they can just have them say combinations of letters. But
yeah, I'm so excited. But that's just something small that I was really excited about, and obviously like it's the most well-received sports game announcement in forever because again it adds to that emotion or immersion of what fans want in a sports game other than gameplay. They want to feel like they are playing a real life game that's being emulated. Speaking of real life game being emulated, we finally have an update on PGA Tour 2K, EA Sports PGA Tour. They got these naming conventions need to change. It isn't the biggest. It's not a release date. We still expect that in March of 2021. I'm sorry, 2022. I took my son as an aside to his pre-K orientation, and she ended it with "Welcome to the class of 2035," because that's when they'll graduate from 8th grade. And you
can't do that to parents.
I'll be I'm not old. I'm 31. I will be 46 years or 45 years old in 2035. And I'm just like, my chest, it hurts. And then I immediately started like wanting to go like, and like want to sell propane and propane accessories. And I just, man, it hurt my chest in so many ways. So PGA Tour announced today that they will include the FedEx Cup playoffs. Now PGA Tour 2K21 has had FedEx Cup playoffs, but now EA Sports PGA Tour is coming for that spot, and they are gobbling up licenses left and right and left and right and left and right and left and right. And they will have the FedEx St. Jude Championship, the BMW Championship, and the Tour Championship, in addition to all 4 majors. They are coming in hot with these licensed courses and things like that. TPC Southwind, Wilmington Country Club, East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta. Like, it is impressive with what they're doing. And to those asking about more, like, we might get some more by the end of the month if they're going to be involved with the Ryder Cup. But what do you take away from this announcement from EA Sports PGA Tour about what they continue to add, though we still don't know about golfer licenses yet?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that EA PGA Tour's strategy to sort of compete with 2K, it was always going to be like, we're going to have the most realistic career mode, right? Like you're going to go to all of the real events and compete. And so like, yeah, you know, we're going to keep getting these announcements over the next, 4 or 5 months. The shot link data is interesting. That lines up with a lot of the stuff EA's moving towards for all their other games. I forgot.
I didn't mention that. The shot link. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I'm not an expert on the shot link stuff, but it seems comparable to the next gen stats.
Yeah,
that they're moving to with Madden, which is just like EA is finding all of these new automatic ways to update players in their games in real time. So I do think that is interesting, just because updating golfers is not something I've ever thought about in a golf game, except for my own golfer. So like, yeah, that's cool. I just want to see, I want to see what the game. I got to see how the game plays. I know they're going to keep getting all these big name event licenses. I think that's great for the people who really want to feel like they are in the PGA, competing in the PGA. And I think that there's like, at this point, it would be a shock if this game didn't appeal to those people, no matter how it played. But that's what I'm interested in. So like, that's what I'm waiting for. I just want to see it. I just want to see how the clubs swing, Yeah. I want to see if they have anything that's comparable to you get to take one practice putt from PGA 2K, which is my favorite golf mechanic in any golf game. So
yeah, people are talking about, look, PGA 2K is doing nothing. I mean, they released their game last year. They are clearly doing an every other year thing the way they've been since it was the golf club. I wouldn't expect any news. Plus, they're already an established game. They don't really need to do anything, and they got Tiger Woods in their back pocket as an executive producer on the series. Right. They will come out. If they come out next year, they'll be doing something. It would be interesting to see both launch next year, or if PGA 2K takes a year off and comes out in 2023, though I don't think that will happen. Right now, if you were to launch both games, the bread and butter of PGA 2K is the course creator.
Yes.
That is their bread and butter. That is their major selling point. For PGA Tour, from EA Sports, it's the majors. Those are the two selling, without knowing what they're going to add to 2K and without knowing what a career mode or anything or online is going to look like for EA Sports. If you're going to say right now, what would you rather? Okay, right now, guys, there's for you in the chat and you, Jake. Both games say to drop next week, but the major selling points are all the Masters or all the majors, including the Masters or the course creator. What is going to get your first? They release the same day. What's going to get your buy?
I think the golf club course creator stuff is great. If only because they really let you do anything. If y'all don't, this is my free plug of the week, which I don't ever get, but if y'all don't know about Secret Base,
because I stop you,
which is the YouTube channel from SB Nation. They do a series where they basically just get inside of a sports video game and mess it all up, called Fumble Dimension. And they did one where they had people make the worst golf course ever. And if you want to get an idea of how like wet and wild you can get with the golf clubs like course creator, you should go watch that YouTube video because it's a mess. And so I
like the fact people make mini golf courses on that.
Right. Yeah. But like also people use that power for good and not just for evil. So I'd have to lean towards PGA 2K. What I will say, and what I think that PGA 2K is missing, is sort of PGA 2K. I had a good time playing their single player thing. I think the rivalry thing is fine, but I don't think their story mode is very compelling. I think that like if EA really wants to get players away from another golf game, it's not enough that they have all of the licenses for the PGA Tour. They also got to make the career mode feel more.
I don't need
more at stake. You know what I mean?
I don't need a story, But yeah, I do need more.
That's
I
what
need more than
I
just
mean,
play tournament, play tournament, play tournament.
Right.
Play
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
Let me do media appearances. Let me do like endorsement contracts. I mean, you get your contracts and your endorsements and stuff with PGA Tour 2K.
Right. But there's not like a lot of.
No.
There's really not too much involved in it. So
Justin is a high golf fan. Well, good for you. It's getting legal in most states, so enjoy. He did correct himself, meant to say huge. That's why I made the joke. Also, playing his golf is a big deal. When we had our PGA episode, this is one thing where I don't care to play as real golfers. I want to play as I liked having the golfers in the game, but you just see highlights of them because I will only ever golf personally with my own creative golfer. I don't care to play with somebody who's already built that I can't improve upon. I want to play as bald Mike Straw here and pretend that I'm better than what I shoot. I shoot in the 90s in real life. I want to be able to shoot in the 60s in the virtual world. So
yeah. And I'm with you in the same way, but like, if they're already trying to get that crowd by getting all the licensing for all of the tournaments, they better get that crowd by getting licensors for the golf players as well. The golfers. I don't know what happened.
Everybody's English is great today.
Maybe I'm the high golfer and I don't know it.
Might.
Yeah, no, I think that he's right to expect them to have golfer licenses because like if you're gonna go through the effort of making it feel like you're on the PGA Tour, you presumably also want to see your score lined up against real golfers, right? So
100%.
2K did do the Happy Gilmore thing, didn't they? I'm not misremembering that.
They had Shooter McGavin. No, they had Shooter McGavin for like the ads. They had him play against like the Miz and stuff like that for the ads.
I thought they added the hockey stick.
They did add the hockey stick. Yes, it is my putter in the game. I do like that. There's no pay to win. My biggest thing I like about 2K is that there is no pay to win with your attributes and stuff like that.
Excuse me.
I do like attribute allocation, but 2K is doing it right with the clubs where some clubs improve here and take away here, and I'm okay with that. So I expect more news by the end of the month on EA Sports PGA. After January 1st, we will have a lot more news. I mean, we only got 5 months until that game comes out. 6 months. So
I'm adjusting on this one. Which is to say, I'm always craving
anxious.
More news.
Yeah. Oh God, 100%. All right. Moving on to the fun one, NHL 22 beta.
Yeah, this one's all you, my man.
Game technical test. They had their gameplay, their World of Chell deep dive on Sunday. The gameplay trailer last week that showed 30 seconds of gameplay in a 5-minute video. That was always fun. That was well received. That was well received. But you don't call it to. If I hear gameplay trailer, it better be gameplay in it.
What was last year's reveal trailer where it was just
locker rooms?
No, it was just the 8 guy. I don't remember his name. I'm not a real hockey fan. Ovechkin was just being like, "Yeah, I'm Ovechkin, and it's cool to be me." And
the 8
and
guy
I love.
Says.
That's all I remember. They call him Mr. 8 or whatever. That's probably true. That's probably true. They probably call him Mr. 8.
I love it.
I wrote about it. You think
I mean, they call him the Great 8. That's his nickname, the Great 8.
Yeah, see?
Mr. 8 sounds like a terrible X-Men villain.
Look, I started by saying I'm not a real hockey fan.
Ovechkin looks like a terrible X-Men villain. There's an ESPN commercial of him. What are you, Steve Levy, calling him a spy? He's like, that's funny. And then he looks up to, I think it's Bobrovsky. Or not, yeah, it might be Bobrovsky. No, I can't remember who it is. But he looks up to the goaltender, and they're speaking in Russian as being a spy.
Yes.
And gameplay wise, so getting to the beta, it only focuses on the World of Chell. They brought back attribute allocation, which was a big win. They didn't do, there's some things I don't like is the fact that your stick and your skates don't matter. I want equipment to matter again, to where it used to be the bend, the curvature of your skate blade determined, all right, I got a better wrist shot, snap shot, slap shot, backhand, whatever. And your skates, the length of your blade, and determined, all right, am I faster? Do I have good acceleration? Can I turn tighter corners with my agility? What here? That I think would do a lot to come back, but NHL, and you can only go up and down like 5 points, it seems, in your ratings, which is annoying because as someone who plays EASHL 3s, I don't need anything in my fighting because there is no fighting in that specific version of the EASHL. So why is it no matter what always going to be above 60? It doesn't need to be. Let me knock it down to 0 and put it everything else. It was Brzgalov. Okay, Ilya Brzgalov. Thank you, Patrick. Sure. And it was going to bother me if I didn't remember the goalie's name. But I like it. It's getting there. It's not where I want it to be. Gameplay, it looks good. Frostbite is Frostbite. I mean, but the animations, there's way too much. It feels like I'm just playing NHL 21. To be honest, some people are like, oh, I like how the passing feels. I like this. Shot blocking feels nice. But there is way too much that feels like NHL 21. There's not a lot of animation changes. There's not a lot of physics changes. And I'm just not. Goaltending feels better. I haven't played enough. I've only played maybe like 3 games as a goaltender so far. So I for now, it feels better. We'll see how much longer it lasts. Body checks look okay. AI is, because it's the world of Chell, there really is no AI. So we don't know how the AI plays. Do
you know if EA's talked about? Probably not much, I guess, huh? Do we know, like, is AI something that they've even mentioned that they are like, we're not making yet. Big in or anything about
not
it?
Not yet. We won't get the full gameplay deep dive until the end of September.
Yeah.
And then we'll have franchise and be a pro and stuff like that. But I think end of September 29th might be the day they go in. So the game isn't just, it looks nice. It feels nice. The dual sense controller continues to be my favorite part of the next generation. And the fact Xbox didn't include like haptic feedback or anything on their controller for the Series X is a big L on their part, because going from a Series X controller or an Xbox controller in general back to the DualSense is night and day. Racing games feel amazing. NHL feels amazing. Skating, the coolest thing I love about this is you feel each stride you take on the ice in your controller. It's really hard to explain unless you're holding the controller in your hand and actually playing. But
is this like a HD Rumble thing, or like?
It's their haptic feedback with the triggers and kind of like an HD Rumble on steroids. But for every stride you make when you're skating, and especially if you push in the right stick and you give yourself a little momentum, you feel like, all right, the right side of the controller when you skate with your right leg, when you skate with your left leg, the left side of the controller. And you feel it based on the strides you take, what you're turning. Like, it just feels like you are actually controlling your skates. And everybody needs to experience that once if you're an NHL fan, because that is the best part of the gameplay right now. Plus, all the audio that comes from the controller is still the coolest thing ever with the PS controllers.
Oh, you're a I like the controller audio guy.
Big time.
Oh, not me. I don't need my
that's because you're a boomer.
Talk to me. Is that true?
I don't know. I want it to talk to me. I want friends. So another thing that talks to me just gives me another friend. The gang's all here.
I do. I am glad to hear that they are taking advantage of the DualSense. I had always gotten the impression that because of the fraught situation that game development's been in over the course of the PS5's existence in the pandemic, mostly, that like a lot of games were not going to be like figuring out and adopting the like haptic triggers and stuff until much later. But that's a pleasant surprise to hear that like it feels cool. Like it feels cool on the controller. So
yeah, it is. The haptic feedback is just fantastic. Every team has kind of taken advantage of it, which has been amazing to see. Especially again, racing games. You'll see me in every game I review that's a racing game that I play on PS5. I specifically asked for it on PS5 because even though chances are I'm reviewing it using the wheel, I will play with the controller to see how it feels. And there's nothing better than like playing like Motocross Monster Energy Supercross 4 than with using the DualSense controller. There's no better feeling than this controller.
Yeah, like I imagine a lot of genres would be able to take advantage of that in cool ways, but it feels like they had racing games in mind.
Yeah, when they designed it. But MLB The Show, like the way you hit, like you can feel. Now, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but if you ever played baseball and when you would hit the ball in a certain spot of the bat, your hands, like you hit it on just that specific spot of the bat, everybody who plays has known, and it hurts your hands. You get that stinger in the palms. You can tell when you get that type of contact that would have given you that stinger in MLB The Show. So it's always little things like that, again, immersion that I really love and that matters to me. So I will praise and sing the praises of the controller.
Yeah, this has been our unprompted 10-minute commercial for the
DualSense controller.
For the PS5 DualSense controller.
Battery life sucks. Okay, there's my negative. It's brutal.
Finally, some good criticism.
Like really bad. But overall, like I'm enjoying the beta. I wish there was online versus, but they are focusing on the World of Chell, which is their most played mode, more than HUT, which is fantastic to hear.
So it feels good because it feels like NHL 21, but it doesn't necessarily feel like NHL 22. Is that a fair statement? Like it doesn't feel necessarily like a NHL 22?
Yes.
Okay.
At least not yet.
Way better?
It looks fantastic. It looks beautiful.
Okay. That's good.
But that's what Frostbite is. Frostbite is made to make things look good. It's not necessarily going to make the games better. But we'll see how it happens when I do like full games when I get later on before the game comes out and I work on my review of full games with the puck going back and forth and playing AI games and things like that. So we're going to move on to the fun part of the show, and that is everybody's Q&A. Now, if you want to
ask us questions.
And if you want to guarantee on the air, get us in your super chats, but we have some time. We're going to get to it.
Just want to...
Or go on.
I was just going to say, well, Dwayne's thing seems like it's still about NHL, so you should answer that first.
Yeah, Dwayne still has the side block trip glitch, which is terrible. Yeah, blocking my shot and a player skating into my block 3 seconds after the fact I went down and leading to a penalty is the dumbest thing. Also, stick collisions are still broken as all hell. That needs to be fixed in a major way. But we'll talk about that. Never played HUT. Don't.
I was just going to say, somebody shouted out Bloomington, Indiana born Rex Grossman earlier. I was very young when he led the Bloomington South High School to its, I think only, I don't think that's true. One of its only state championships as quarterback there. I think we have a street named at Rex Grossman Road, if I recall correctly. A big fan of the Cannon down in Bloomington, Indiana. He used to be on a billboard when I was young. That was very funny.
That's just no.
He was 1998 Indiana Player of the Year.
On that note,
that's why he got drafted.
Lots of penalties. Yes, they continue. Cross crease goals are still overpowered. So we'll just start at the top. Is this a legit podcast that you can download? Yes, at sportsgamersonline.com/podcast. So I forgot to put last week's up. This week we'll be back up. sportsgamersonline.com/podcast.
I'll do double duty and I'll get 2 articles up. You can also search for SGO Press Pass in your favorite podcatcher. So
no.
NBA Live 22 is dead. Do you think UFL soccer could develop I'm reading this as, do you think that the creators of UFL soccer could develop an NBA game? I don't actually know who. So I admit, I don't know. And we should have Curtis on the show soon to talk about this because I don't know anything else about UFL.
It's a free-to-play game with over 5,000 licensed players. We don't know much about that yet. We don't know about a release. We don't know about consoles. We just know they're building a next-gen soccer game powered by Unreal Engine. There's not enough known whether or not they can compete. I don't think anybody can compete with NBA 2K. 2K is like Disney. NBA 2K is like for lack of a better comparison, they're like a Madden, man. Teams can come in and compete, but the only difference is Madden has the sim rights where NBA 2K doesn't.
Yeah, right.
Or exclusivity on the sim rights.
It certainly is one, bold of it to suggest fair to play, as if there will be no microtransactions eventually in this game. This wording reminds me exactly.
Ads. I'm terrified of what they're gonna do.
This reminds me so much of Nintendo's use of free to start instead of free to play for their free to play games. Yeah, for their mobile games, free to start. Yeah, I don't know who's developing this game. It is. I think you're right in that it doesn't necessarily compete with FIFA. It certainly eats the lunch of eFootball, which has
that's where they're going.
This exact announcement 2 months ago. You know what I mean?
That's where they're going, without a doubt. That'll be their first person.
The
first target.
So the only reference to Strikers Inc. is listed, which I have to assume is the developer. And then it also references a Instat, which is like which appears to be like a next gen stats, but for
yeah. So according,
football,
so the game was revealed at Gamescom opening night live. So Strikers Inc. started to develop this title back in 2016, and it's the studio's first project, but they are going right to the top. They are targeting FIFA as their main competition, which,
I mean, look, shout outs.
Nope, that's dumb. I get you want to go for the biggest, baddest dog in the yard, but damn, get a game out first before you start doing that one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. So in the trailer, they did have the classic PA announcer from the Bulls talking about Michael Jordan. So there is a good chance. I don't have the trailer ready to go because when I share screen, you don't get the audio. But let's see if I can find a screenshot of it while we answer another question here. Wish we could get a college football or basketball game again. Yeah, I doubt it ever happens, to be honest.
We got a question from Random Videos that asks, will a default guy be the PA announcer for created teams? I know you had mentioned hoping that if you created a team in 2K22, you'd be able to choose whichever PA guy you wanted to pick. I mean, did they say anything? Do we know the answer to that?
No, we don't know.
It's speculation at this point. Okay, yeah. I don't know if they'll have a generic guy. I don't know if they're still going to have like people in the booth and you'll be able to choose like local PA or booth guys. And so maybe the booth guys will just always be your choice if you create a team. I don't think we have any info about that.
No, we have nothing about that yet. I'm assuming we'll get that sooner rather than later. College hockey would be fun. What's baseball and football? The only major sports on actual PvP game mode. I mean, yeah, that's impossible. I mean, you're talking about like pro clubs, ESHL. Too many pro clubs. I mean, they have AI. Baseball would be too boring for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, you're doing a lot.
And who's going to play online? Madden used to have the Madden team online. They have it for Ultimate Team, and they've not brought it back to outside Ultimate Team, which sucks. Because me and two of my two best friends, we would play Madden online team play nightly.
If you want the full team football experience, you should check out Gridiron.
Yes, that's Steam, exactly what I was going to say.
Which is, I think, 7v7, but it's 3 linemen, a quarterback, a running back, and wide receivers. And
you can only play with PvP.
It fills up the lobby.
James Hicks, do you think Pebble Beach Golf Course? One of these games is going to get Pebble Beach, and it's going to be a big deal. I can almost guarantee. So I got the screenshot. Here we go. Tommy Edwards, classic Bulls announcer, is in the game.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we'll this is a screenshot right from the teaser trailer. So
my follow-up question would be how many classic announcers do you think they have? Do you think they get?
Maybe two.
Or just the one that says Michael Jordan.
Maybe just the one that says Michael Jordan. Hunter, no, I don't think they can make an NBA game.
There's no also way. Asked, like,
I want to see what they do with their first game first that's been in development for 5 years.
Well, we did get kind of an interesting question that I am along those same lines. That was basically like they're making UFL in Unreal 5. Do you think is possible to a football game? And I'm interpreting that as, do you think it would be possible to make a football game in Unreal Engine 5? And like, I think that the biggest obstacle to overcome in making a football game is, do you have the license to make a simulation NFL football game? Otherwise, do you think you have the popularity to make that football game? Like, that's always what's tough, I think, is like,
you can, if you come out with like an NFL street type game, you have that popularity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think 2K is learning the hard way though, that just because you have the NFL license doesn't mean
you have an NFL game. Yeah.
Yeah. That has been stone silent. They went from, we're coming out in 2021. That's what everything was told. That's what I was told, to now I can't get a word from anybody when I go, hey, what's going on? Like, all I want is a what's going on, like status update.
Yeah. I feel like there are enough.
Fernando. We'll get to Luan in a minute. Continue.
Oh, well, he actually asked the original question too, so that's the one we were just talking about, so that's convenient. Soccer game on Android called Mino Football from Miniclip. It's simple and it works pretty well. I wonder if Miniclip can bring Retro Bowl guys and make a deal with NFLPA. That would be fun.
I think so. Retro Bowl, the mobile game, they are making a mobile soccer game, which I'm pretty stoked about. That's coming up soon.
A Retro Bowl is? That's neat.
Yeah, that Retro Bowl is a very fun game. Guys, speaking of a very fun game, make sure you follow me on Twitter because I'm giving away at Mike Star Media 2 copies of Legend Bowl, which launches tomorrow. You have until 10 a.m. tomorrow to get in. Just go to twitter.com/Mike Star or /Mike Star Media and check out my timeline and you'll see how to enter. All you have to do is follow and retweet the giveaway tweet to be eligible. What are your thoughts? We got time for a couple more. Saints Row reboot. We talked about it last week. Probably will go woke, and I'm okay with that. I want it to be over the top, stupid fun. I don't care about the story in Saints Row. Never have.
Hunter, I would challenge you to think about what you mean by that. That's my answer. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Saints Row. I get that it's supposed to be a parody of a parody because it wants to be more
parody of
extreme GTA. Yeah, exactly.
It's if GTA meets Just Cause.
And like, I don't know how you, and I think it was the right decision to reboot because now that GTA is a much less critical. I would argue that GTA has Saints Row itself a little bit at this point.
GTA is Skyriming itself. That's what
so
GTA
like, is. Well, I mean, they'll never make it. GTA 6 doesn't ever need to come out because GTA Online makes them buku bucks. But you know, I think that it was the right decision for Saints Row to reboot. I don't know. It seemed cool. It was a cool trailer. That's kind of my stance on it.
It's pretty cool, I guess. We got time for a couple more. Trey Atkins, longtime viewer of the show. How you doing? Do you think WW2K22 will have enough time now to finalize and end up having an up-to-date game with the arenas that premiere for Raw and SmackDown in October? I would hope so. But we'll see.
You would think. You would think they've got time now, and whatever the new freaking NXT stuff looks like.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into them.
I think the logo looks cool. I don't.
The logo looks too AEW Dynamite-y.
Sure, yeah, it is the same colors. I saw that.
How many people are on the NHL team? 100 or so. We got time for one more question. Who wants it? Jake, I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure. What you got for
guys?
me?
EA will never lose the contract for NHL. They just re-upped in December, and it's a 5-year extension. Do you think that
I don't like the way you've already laughed.
this is going to be from someone who doesn't play Madden?
Okay.
Or to someone who doesn't play Madden.
Yes, that's me.
That is on the fence. Say you're on the fence of getting it, and you see all this shit that comes out with Madden, right?
Okay.
Do you think Madden 22, with all the updates, has any chance of being as good of a game as the legendary Sid Meier's Sim Golf was? I missed it last week, and I'm so happy I got it tonight. He walked away. Oh. Guys, this is where we're going to end this week's show. You can find us on Twitter at TH3 Composer for Jake, at Mike Straw Media for myself. Be sure to subscribe to Sports Gamers Online for the latest. Turn on your notifications. Find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Until next time, we are out with the best ending of all time.